Good morning. This is the meeting of the State and Local Government Committee for Wednesday, March 2nd. It's great to be in Augusta, and it's also great to see so many participants and panelists on the screen as well as in person. We'll first do the introductions, starting with Representative Reisman, and then we'll go across this, and then I will recognize people on the screen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Walter Reisman. I represent District 69, which is Bridgeton, Harrison, and Denmark.
Great. I'm Joe Baldacci. I represent Senate District 9, which is the city of Bangor and the town of Herman.
Oops. There we go. Good morning. My name is Ann Matlack. I represent House District 92, which includes the communities of Thomaston, South Thomaston, Cushing, St. George, Matinicus, Creehaven, and the Muscle Ridge Islands. And I also serve as the House co-chair of this committee.
Good morning. I'm Representative Will Toole. I represent the Machias area, plus Lubec and Eastport, and I'm the House Republican lead on the committee.
Morning, and thank you, Chair Baldacci. I am Mark Bryant. I represent House District 24, part of the town of Wyndham.
Great. And then we will go to Representative Francis Head.
Good morning. My name is Frances Head. I live in Bethel and I represent District 117, 23 towns and townships and unorganized territories in District 117.
Thank you. And Senator Kim Rosen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Kimberly Rosen. I represent Senate District 8, which is Bucksport, Castine, Dedham, Great Pond, Orland, Penobscot, Verona Island, Bradley, the city of Brewer, Clifton, Eddington, Holden, Lincoln, Burlington, Lowell, and Orrington, and 4 unorganized territories in Hancock and Penobscot counties. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Kathy Downs.
Good morning, and thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Kathy Downs. I represent District 130, which is Bucksport and Orrington. Welcome all, and thank you.
Thank you. Representative Sean Paulus.
Thank you. I'm Sean Paulus. I represent House District 52, which is all of the city of Bath. Thank you.
Great. And we are also assisted today by our committee clerk, Cheryl McGowan, who will be assisting us, and our committee analyst, Lynn Caswell. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Good. So I'm just going to provide a brief overview for people before we get started. So this committee has been selected to do a test run of a work session using the hybrid format. A hybrid meeting is an in-person meeting which includes an option for members and invited presenters to participate electronically. Please be patient as we test this new format and be mindful that those of us in the room, particularly chairs and staff, are trying to monitor and manage an in-person meeting and an electronic meeting simultaneously. With regard to meeting materials, our analyst, Lynn Caswell, sends meeting materials to members electronically prior to the meeting whenever that is feasible. However, in most circumstances, hard copy materials distributed in person during the meeting will not be available to persons participating electronically until later. For the sake of efficiency, we will not be pausing the meeting for the purposes of asking staff to scan, upload, and email hard copy materials received during the meeting. For those attending the meeting in the committee room, we will be strictly adhering to the mask policy. We also ask that people be mindful of one another's personal space in the committee room. To that end, we ask that if you are in the room, you take one of the available seats. If there are no seats available, we ask that you observe the meeting using a device in another space in the building, such as the Cross Cafe or the space adjacent to the security checkpoint at the State House entrance. Let's see. Because our analyst will be assisting the committee while sitting in front of the committee in the room, she will not be communicating electronically with members, and others join the meeting over Zoom. So questions or requests for information for the analyst should be made through the chair. All questions of procedure in this test run will be decided by the chair. The analyst will not be joining the meeting or working from a laptop during a hybrid meeting, so the screen share function won't be available from the analyst. Finally, please be sure that microphones on your laptop, phone, or other devices are muted. Otherwise, you may create feedback and audio interference in the room. Thank you. And I think we have two matters today set for work session. The first matter is LD number 1610, an act to promote
Mr.
equity.
Chairman?
Yes.
Sorry, but you do have a new attendant. Representative Greenwood is with us.
Oh, okay.
Just one.
Thank you. Yeah, I will introduce him in just a second. So we have two matters set for work session. The first is LD number 1610, an act to promote equity and policymaking by enhancing the state's ability to collect, analyze, and apply data. Before I go to Lynn, I would ask Representative Greenwood, good morning. If you could introduce yourself.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Reisman, for noticing. My name is Randall Greenwood. I represent House District 82, which are the towns of Litchfield, Monmouth, my hometown of Wales, in both Androscoggin and Kennebec counties. Thank you.
Thank you and good morning. Lynn, on the first matter, LD number 1610.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have a bill analysis and also the sponsors amendment, which Cheryl will hand out to you all. As you said, these materials were sent to all the committee members yesterday electronically, and they are posted on the committee's page for anyone listening in the public. I believe that people who may be here to testify, to answer questions include the sponsor, Representative Talbot Ross. I'm just going to mention names. I don't know if they're in the attendee room. The Secretary of State's office did submit testimony yesterday. Fred Britton, who is the Chief Information Officer, was specifically invited, as was Amanda Rector, the state economist. So they may be in the attendee room should you have questions for them. So my analysis that you have in front of you is on the sponsors amendment that was presented at the public hearing. The sponsors amendment that you all received yesterday is a little different. I'm going to try and catch all the differences for you when I highlight what this bill does. So this amendment establishes the state economist position within the Department of Administrative and Financial Services so that the state economist can include demographic analysis in the scope of work. And there are two positions, two FTEs in this bill to support this demographic analysis. Let's see, did I get that? Yes, within the state economist. This requires the Secretary of State's office and the Chief Information Officer of the state to establish a data governance program for them to consult with the Permanent Commission on Racial, Indigenous, and Tribal Populations and with the Office of the State Archivist in the development of the data governance program. It requires the three entities, Secretary of State, CIO, and the Permanent Commission, to report back to this committee. The bill amendment with the sponsor is actually annually, and then this committee would have the authority to report out legislation based on that report. And I believe that's the substance. I've hit all the main points of the substance of the bill. The sponsor testified in favor, as did a variety of individuals testified in favor, and there was a significant amount of written testimony that was also provided. There were no opponents to this. There was one entity that testified neither for nor against. That was the Maine Health Data Organization. They are an entity within DHHS, a separate entity. They do quite a bit of data collection and analysis. And they expressed concern that this data governance program that was going to be developed across the government may or may not interfere or require additional changes to their data governance program. So I have written most of the sponsor's amendments, so I, of course, found very few technical issues with it. I will say that the committee may want to consider adding a bit of a definition to what the state economist does. That position is being added into the statute, not because it's new, but because it isn't referenced. The state economist is referenced in statute, but nobody has identified where that position sits. So a brief description might be helpful. I think that the committee may want to consider further what the Maine Health Data Organization commented on. I believe the sponsor and perhaps the chief chief information officer probably would be able to answer questions about how this new data governance program would or would not interact or interfere with the Maine Health Data Organization. There is no fiscal impact that was identified yet, but that's common practice, that fiscal impacts are not usually until later in the process. And I guess I would turn it over to those subject matter experts that the committee may have questions about.
Are there questions for Lynn? Representative Reisman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lynn, you mentioned that we should provide a definition for the scope of work for the state economist. I assume what you mean is over and above what the description of that job is already. Is that correct?
Yes, Representative Reisman, the statute does not actually define what the state economist does. What this bill says is that the commissioner may employ a state economist who has the authority to hire staff. Usually there's a bit more, maybe 3 or 4 more words that says, and the state economist is focused on. So something fairly brief. I suspect the state economist may be able to help the committee in crafting the scope of that work.
But basically what you're saying is the charge for
Yes.
what that person's charged with. Any other questions? Any members that are on the video have questions? Seeing none? Who is here to join us? Oh, Representative Matlack, I'm sorry.
Thank you. My apologies, sir. Yes, you said that there were some differences between what we heard last week and the amendment that was delivered yesterday by the sponsor. Have you had an opportunity, and can you elaborate on what the changes might be?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. One of the changes, if you have the amendment in front of you, on the first page, there's a subsection B that talks about program requirements, and number 7 was added. Perhaps a number 6 and a number 7. There's been several drafts. So number 6 and number 7. Number 6 is including records management capabilities and compliance. And number 7 is ensured data sharing and usage complies with state and federal laws, rules, and regulations. Another change was that the reporting requirement to this committee is on an annual basis. A third requirement is that the CIO and the Secretary of State must meet with the Permanent Commission at least 4 times a year. So it's an annual consultation. And finally, there are several positions. If you look on page 2 and 3, the Secretary of State's office. So the original draft had the 2 positions for the state economist to do the demographic analysis. As the bill was amended since the public hearing, the Secretary of State has identified the need for a position that's at the bottom of page 2, a data governance architect. On page 3, the state archivist has also identified need for a management analyst position. And at the last one is the Permanent Commission has also identified need for a position. I believe that the sponsor and perhaps the Chief Information Officer can expand on what the scope of the data governance program is and what the discussions were that have led to these entities identifying need for additional staff.
Do we have the sponsor available?
She,
I don't see her on the list,
okay.
but. Excuse me, I don't see the sponsor. I don't see the sponsor on our attendees list, but I do see Mr. Britton. And I also see Secretary Bellows. And we do have the state archivist here with us today.
So I think Mr. Britton should be brought in. And thank you, Kate, for being here as well.
And
And the Secretary of State Bellows, if she,
Amanda Record.
and Amanda Rector. Good morning, Secretary Bellows.
Good morning, Senator Baldacci, Representative Matlick, members of the State and Local Government Committee. Wonderful to see you in person. Hopefully next time we'll all be able to join you there.
That's right. So did you get a chance to hear Lynn's analysis?
I did, and you have an amazing analyst. I think she has accurately captured all of the discussions that I believe have happened since the public hearing, and want to thank the sponsor, Representative Talbot Ross. We are fully committed to this bill as amended. The data governance is so important, I think, and bringing the equity lens to data governance and to records management will, I think, be a real gift to our state. We house a tremendous amount of data at the Department of Secretary of State. And I think, like many agencies, individual agencies have individual rules and processes around governance and protection of their data, but partnering with the Chief Information Officer to develop an overarching program and guidelines, and partnering with the Permanent Commission to think through how we start to collect the data that we need to assess impact and equity and bring that information to the public, but also to the legislature for future analysis with the state economist. I think this is truly the next step in moving our state forward and potentially transformational. I'm happy to answer any questions about the positions that the department has proposed. We are committed to doing this policy work. We think it's really, really important. We are also mindful that if we are to go beyond policy into active implementation, and if we are going to, especially from the state archives position, support other state agencies in that transition, having dedicated staff would strengthen and amplify and deepen the sustainability of those efforts.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Secretary Bellows? Seeing, Representative Matlack.
Thank you. This is probably a question for Ms. Rector, but have you folks come up with a description of the state economist and how that would fit in with the Secretary of State's office?
Does Ms. Rector wish to address that?
Of course. Good morning. I'm Amanda Rector. I'm the state economist. I am part of the Department of Administrative and Financial Services, where my position has been since 2017. And I think one of the challenges as we were looking at this was we realized that while there are several places in statute that reference the state economist, nowhere does it actually identify the state economist. So my position is within the Office of the Commissioner, which is where that language is being added to, is the Office of the Commissioner for the Department of Administrative and Financial Services. In terms of a little bit more of a definition of what the tasks are, I think it probably could be something as simple as provide economic and demographic data and analysis. That's essentially what I do already, and just lining that there, I think goes nicely with that following paragraph that adds demographic to the economic analysis that is already in statute. I'm happy to answer further questions as well.
Any other questions for Ms. Rector? Okay, we were also joined by Mr. Britton. Good morning.
Good morning, Senator Baldacci, Representative Matlack, and other members of the Joint Standing Committee on State and Local Government. Appreciate your bringing me in. Just a couple of comments on the importance of the work and the partnership in particular with the Secretary of State. As we have been looking forward to how we might better provide citizen services, data governance is something we had been very seriously thinking about. And as Bill LD 1610 came in, a lot of further questions about how are we also using this to effectively analyze and inform decisions that all of you are making on a daily basis and other kinds of decisions that occur in state government. Our data as it's structured across the executive branch today is very siloed. And we have been looking at this in a very transactional way, make sure those individual systems provide the services for which they were designed, but that limits the ability to do broader analysis and also to improve citizen access to services in a really a unified way. So within the main jobs and recovery plan, there is an allocation in there to work on improving the quality and ease of citizen services online. So data governance was something that we were going to have to embark on to be effective there. From the perspective of my chair, working with the Secretary of State becomes critical in that the BMV data is probably the most comprehensive data set as it relates to the public. So that partnership becomes truly important for us to get the work done. So if we think about a data governance program, and I really appreciated during the public hearing, Representative Talbot Ross spoke to, this is a data program, not just a data project. So prioritizing what is the kind of data work that happens next is really important. And that is a broad effort that is going to take the combined effort of the Secretary of State, my office, and then bringing in numerous other agencies and subject matter experts as needed on different projects and in different cases. So for me, the establishment of this program really important in order for us to serve citizens and inform decision making. So very supportive of this bill. Delighted to be here and happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you, Mr. Britton. Any questions? Mr. Britton. Representative Matlack.
Excuse me. I just want to mention that Representative Talbot Ross had been in another committee and she will be moving over shortly. And also that Ms. Trundy from DAFS is here should we need to ask about that.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I see that Ms. Trundy has joined us, as well as Jeff McCabe from the Maine State Employees Association. Anya Trundy.
I'm going to send Mr. McCabe back.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Trundy.
Good morning. I don't feel as though I need to say anything at this point. I think Fred has covered things quite nicely for now, so I won't take any of the committee's time.
Okay, just one quick question for me. It sounds like from what is being said this morning that the bill largely coincides with the objectives of state government in terms of going forward with data governance as into the future. That this bill is kind of going to strengthen that role of what you were already going to do and provide some different focus, but this bill is something that you guys can work with. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, Senator, thank you. I would agree with that statement. I think that that the direction that we were moving and looking at in the first place is very well aligned with what the initiative in the bill is around centering racial and demographic data.
Thank you. And I see the sponsor, State Representative Rachel Talbot Ross, has joined us. Thank you very much, Representative Ross. I know you're busy.
Thank you, Senator. My apologies to the committee. I was presenting a bill in another committee this morning. So my apologies. It sounds like you've covered quite a bit though, and I'd be happy to help in any way that I can moving forward.
Is any member of the Representative Toole?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess my question is, I know this bill, when it first came out, we were adding a couple of staff people. Is it your intention to now add 5 staff people? And could you touch on that a little bit?
Representative, is the question directed to me? I know you were speaking with.
Yes, I apologize. Yes.
No apologies at all. Yeah, we've discussed this at great length, trying to come up with both a substantial program and those who need to be a part of it. I want to thank Secretary Bellows and Mr. Britton for all of their work in getting us to this place, and to Anya Trundy, Amanda Rector, and a number of other folks connected to the Permanent Commission who really believe strongly in this bill. We want to do it right. I do think that, having data, architects matter in order to make sure that the work stays true moving forward, and builds the right depository, the right way that we're collecting information, the right way that we're storing it and getting it out. So those positions are really vital. I believe that those involved in this work are willing to look at the human resources that are needed initially, and we may be able to scale back some of the requests for the FTEs. Everyone is committed to doing this work, and we really, really want your support in moving this program forward. I do think that there's some ways in which we can look at scaling some of the requests for FTEs back. I think that in order to truly answer the question, Secretary Bellows and Mr. Britton and Dr. Dibble, who represents the Permanent Commission, is somewhere in the waiting room. It would be great to bring her forward to ask about the ability for the Permanent Commission to scale that back. But I do think that there's some room to do that. We really wanted to present to this committee the full breadth of the governance program and what it would take to really institutionalize that, situate that in government well. And so the request before you is what it would take to do this program well. Could we start off at a smaller scale, Representative? I believe the answer is yes.
Okay, someone else has joined us. I can't tell from here, but
Dr. Dibble is with us.
okay, Doctor, good morning.
Good morning to all of you. Thank you very much for having us. And I'm just here to answer your questions if you have any, representing the Permanent Commission, where my role is Director of Community Engaged Research. I'll also note that Joby Thoyalil, Commissioner on the Permanent Commission, is here as well, and he might be promoted to panelist to help answer questions. And so the need for an FTE position with the Permanent Commission comes from the fact that we are here working as a full partner with the others represented, bringing the lens, the racial equity lens to all of this work, and would be working in a concerted way to do consistent consulting, ongoing, with the creation of this program and all of the projects that issue from this really important data collection program.
Great. Any questions for the doctor? Okay. Just to make sure I give everybody equal chance, I wanted to go to the legislators that are on the video. Do you folks on the video have any questions or comments that you want to make? Okay, seeing none, we'll go back. Representative Reisman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Questions for Representative Ross. I noticed on the handout here that we have one testimony that was neither for nor against, and that was the Maine Health Data Organization who wanted to be exempt. What's your position on that?
Well, thank you for the question. My position on that is that there should be no carve-outs or exemptions to this bill. I strongly believe that. I cannot emphasize that enough. I believe that if there's a carve-out for Maine Health Data Organization, MHDO, there will be other requests for other carve-outs. And so I do not support it in the least. I believe in the work that Mr. Pretend is standing up along with the Secretary of State's office. I do believe that they are fully aware of the great work that has already been taken place with MHDO, and there's absolutely no intention not to honor the work that's been done and to incorporate it. We discussed this in a recent meeting about MHDO, their position and any exemptions, and the consensus for the entire work group is that this is a solid bill the way it is currently written, with no carve-outs. And so we truly invite everybody in. I think I can speak for Mr. Breton in crafting this governance program. There will be their work will be honored in moving this program forward. But if we start to carve out MHDO, my fear, Representative, is that there will be additional carve-outs, and then we do not have consistency in a program that the public can trust.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Representative Matlack?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, I was going to ask Mr. Britton about this. When one does combine an existing program with a new program, sometimes there are issues in implementation. And the idea of medical data having an issue coming into the rest of the program, or not being able to honor the privacy issues that were presented by incorporating medical health data into this. Can you speak to how you folks are planning to merge that program into the proposed program so that we don't corrupt data or release data that should remain private?
I can, Representative Matlack. Thank you for the question. I think we've had numerous conversations about the criticality of privacy as we go through this. And I think the thing I want to emphasize the most is we in IT are thinking about how we structure data such that it can be joined, but not necessarily saying it should be joined. The role of governance is to talk about, okay, just because you can, now when do we do it? And what are the implications? I do believe that there's a strong role for privacy, and it's not just, we have both. There are regulatory compliance issues around many of our data sets. We're subject to federal audits, there's state laws, and then there's also the question about what is right that we also have to take into account. And so as we look at those roles, privacy is a big piece. And if you imagine data governance is saying, what is the priority of decision-making, what's the priority of the projects we're working on, and then bringing in the right subject matter experts. If a data governance program is sitting behind closed doors, making decisions about when to join, expose, release data, they've made a mistake. So they do need to be bringing in on each project, determining who are the key stakeholders. There's a lot of language about, my office doesn't own any data. The data is absolutely associated with those agencies. We facilitate how that can happen, but in the end, we have to defer to the rules by which they're governed and appropriateness of the citizens. So subject matter expertise and consultation is a key element to any kind of successful governance. That's all of you know.
Thank you, Mr. Burton.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions by members of the committee regarding this? I know that we have our state archivist here. I don't know if Kate McBride if Kate wants to make any statements or say anything about the bill? Sure. Yeah. It's great to see you in person. And thank you for your great work as the archivist.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is so nice to see you all in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add that as the state archivist, it's actually within our statute to be involved with any new development, data programs to ensure that records management is well followed. We can preserve the necessary records, we make available the necessary records. And so I really appreciate the opportunity to work closely with the CIO and the Secretary of State to ensure that the records for the people of Maine are preserved and made available.
Thank you. Any questions for the archivist? Seeing done, thank you very much. Oh, it's Representative Matlack.
Thank you. I think I have a, excuse me, we just got a note that she might not have been able to be heard online. Were you able to hear? Yeah, Senator Rosen is nodding yes. Okay. Thank you. I guess I wanted to ask Lynn about the comment that you made with regard to the Office of the State Economist and the scope of work. Is the addition of just a few words, is that sufficient for what you were recommending?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, just a few words would be sufficient, and that would parallel how other positions that are specifically mentioned in statute. It's generally a very brief, just kind of overview. So yes, that's appropriate.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, any other discussion regarding the bill? I really want to thank everyone from the Secretary of State's office, the archivist, the Department of DAFs, just as a short version, Amanda Rector, our state economists, and the members of the Permanent Commission that are here. I want to thank everybody, and Representative Ross. I think this has been a really wonderful team effort that you presented. It goes well hand in glove with the work that this committee did last year to establish the impact statements. I think Representative Ross and the team here and have really shown leadership in terms of making sure that we as a state going forward remember everyone in this state. Representative Matlack.
I'm a question for the folks around the table. Are we, or for Lynn, are we clear on what the language of the bill being presented is? And is this sufficient for moving forward with this bill?
We are clear on the body of the language, the apportionment and appropriation section. The language may need to be tweaked by the Office of Fiscal and Programs in that they may need to add some numbers in there. And I don't mean dollar amounts, I mean what fund they come from. So those may be tweaked a little so that they comply with what OFPR needs to see in a bill. But the language in the rest of the bill, I have drafted and reviewed, and I think it's fairly clearly sets out what the party's intentions are.
Thank you. Then I would like to move ought to pass as amended with the fiscal note, please.
And does that amendment include the language about the charge description of for the state economist?
Yes, please.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. I believe, I apologize, I can't. Is it Representative Ross that you have your hand up? Or is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
My apologies. I just want to make sure that the version that you have has the allocation to the Permanent Commission as well. It does. Great. Thank you very much. My apologies.
Yeah, okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion by members of the committee? Representative Toole?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just as a point of clarity from Lynn, the motion does not include an exemption for MDHO, correct?
That's correct, Representative.
Okay, thank you.
Toole.
Okay. Any other comments or questions by members of the committee? Anybody on Zoom, please feel free to raise your hands if you wish to. Okay, well, we have a motion and a second. Now, Ms. McGowan will join us. Cheryl, good morning. Can you take the roll?
LD 1610 ought to pass as amended. Senator Joseph Baldacci.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, yes. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
Thank you, Amanda Rector, and I'll say yes.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, yes. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
No.
Representative William Toole, no. Representative Mark Bryant.
Yes.
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Representative Randall Greenwood.
No.
Representative Randall Greenwood, no. Representative Sean Paulus.
Yes.
Representative Sean Paulus.
We can't hear.
Yes.
We can't hear you, Sean.
I hear him.
President Whiteley, yeah. Representative Sean Paulus, yes. Representative Francis Head.
No.
Representative Francis Head, no. Representative Walter Rising.
Yes.
Representative Walter Rising, yes. Representative Kathy Downs.
No.
Representative Kathy Downs, no. Representative Lynn Copeland, absent. 6 yes. 4 ought not to pass. Representative Toole.
That's correct.
4 ought not to pass and 2 absent.
That's
Okay.
correct. Ought not to pass. I should have said that on mic and I apologize.
Mhm. Thank you, Cheryl. Okay. You have appropriate direction on that, Bill, in terms of language review.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So our next item,
And thank you, everybody, for being here for this bill.
yes, thank you very
We
much.
appreciate your assistance.
So our next item on today's agenda is LD number 1795, an act to update statutory references to building code standards for public improvements. Lynn, do you want to give us the heads up on this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this bill, you had a public hearing on the 7th of February, and you've had 2 work sessions. This is a department bill
Thank
from the
you.
Department of Administrative and Financial Services that updates references in the portion of Title V applying to public improvements. And the update references MUBAC, the main uniform building and energy code, which the department has testified is the industry standard. The bill also applies the MUBAC ventilation standards to buildings occupied by state employees. Again, this is within the portion of the statute that applies to public improvements. And it also replaces references to the economic and community development with the Department of Public Safety, because building codes are now within Department of Public Safety jurisdiction. So again, it was a department bill, and during the work sessions and the hearing, questions were raised in a few areas. One were questions to the Maine Municipal Association and whether they had any concerns regarding this. Rebecca Graham provided information that she did not have concerns because this only applies to municipal projects that have state funds attached. There was also discussion about those school buildings that are within unorganized territories, because they are, and what has been confirmed since the last work session is the buildings in unorganized territories, which there are 3. I gave you some additional information. The Connor Consolidated School, the Edmonds Consolidated School, and the Kingman Elementary School. So those buildings are considered state buildings, and the employees in them are considered state employees. So with respect to ventilation standards, the Title V, Chapter 153, which is the public improvements for state buildings, that are the MUBEC ventilation standards would apply to those state employees in those three consolidated, those three schools in unorganized territories. The Victoria Wallach from Representative Maine School Systems came and spoke originally. The Maine school systems, there is a separate a separate bill in education that came out last session, earlier in the 130th, which set up standards for school systems and when the ventilation, MUBEC ventilation standards would apply. And that's from 2022 to 2026. So there was some concern that the standards that apply to school systems is in the bill that was in front of education, and that the standards that apply to the unorganized territories is separate in this language that is in Title 5. And I have confirmed that, yes, there are two standards, one for school buildings with school employees, which includes this building and unorganized territories bills, and a separate standard. And it's more of a timing issue, not so much the standard. The MUBEC ventilation standard applies. It's just that the schools have a law that says those standards must be applied between 2022 and 2026. So I think those are all the issues and information that you all requested. I believe that Jeff McCabe from the Maine State Maine Services Employee Association may be available. I'm sure Anya Trundy may be available if you have specific questions. Victoria Wallach last communicated with me. I don't know if she's there, but she expressed that because their law through education was set and not going to be impacted, she did not have any continuing concerns.
Okay. So the gist of what you're telling us in terms of this is that we're not stepping on anybody's turf.
That's
where the lines are staying clear for everyone.
That's correct. The lines
Okay.
are clear. Yes.
Any questions, Representative Bryant?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I think I was the one that was concerned that we may be disfranchising or treating some in the UT differently and also not equally. But because of the research with the McCabe and Andre and all of us, we are now feel it's an even playing field, and we're okay with the bill as written.
Okay, thank you very much, Representative Bryant. Any question, Representative Tool?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'm a little confused about the unorganized territory issue. Is it so? I'm trying to understand here with that. So they're gonna, the schools have standards that need to be in place by 2026. Does this bill do something different that they're gonna have to comply with? Or I guess I'm a little mixed up there, and probably not surprised by that, but if someone could explain that a little more or try to explain it again, that would be great.
Lynn?
Thank you, Representative Toole. I will make a second attempt. It is a bit confusing. The law that applies to schools, all schools except those in unorganized territories. So we'll just say the schools. The law with respect to all those schools is in Resolve 2021, Chapter 411. They have the 2022 to 2026 standard. The schools in the unorganized territory, because they're state buildings with state employees, they fall under the public improvement law that applies to all state buildings for all state employees. So there's just a few of the schools that are considered state buildings with state employees that have a standard, has the same standard as every other state building. Did that help?
I think it does. So they would be under this standard, those three UT schools, whereas the rest of the schools would be under the other standard?
That's correct.
Okay,
And it's
that's
the
what I thought.
timing that's different.
Okay, so what is the difference? How much of a difference do we have in timing?
I believe, and I'm gonna ask if Anya is available to respond. I believe that the schools in the unorganized territories, like every other state building, the MUBEC standards must be used when there are improvements being made.
Okay, and I see Ms. Trundy has joined us again. Thank you. Can you elaborate on Lynn's comments?
Yes, hello again.
Oh.
I unfortunately was passing through the wormhole when Lynn probably said the most valuable thing. So maybe she could repeat like the last 15 seconds of what she said, that would be helpful.
Yes, thank you, Anya. My understanding is the schools in the unorganized territories, as with every other state building with state employees, the MUBEC standards, compliance with MUBEC occurs when there are improvements or new construction.
Yes, that is correct. I think what I would say to the committee here is that even though these references have been out of date in statute for a long time, they date back to the 70s and 80s. It's the OSHRA standards that are encompassed by MUBEC that the state has been adhering to in regards to air quality standards across state buildings. And so that encompasses those 3 buildings that are under state ownership that are schools.
Great. Lynn?
Yes, if I may, Mr. Chair, I also want to remind the committee that it was in the 129th or the 130th that you passed a bill that became law that required the department to look at the ventilation and the harmful air such as mold and asbestos in the state buildings and develop a report and other, I'm spacing a bit on all the details, but there was a requirement for the department to do a review of harmful substances in all state buildings, which would include these 3 schools in unorganized territories.
Thank you. Any questions by members of the committee? I don't see any raised hands on the video. And I don't see any raised hands here. So is there a motion? Representative Matlack?
I move ought to pass. Is there a fiscal note on this? Are there amendments or we just ought to pass?
No fiscal note from our perspective.
Thank you. So ought to pass?
Do we have to, is this part as amended or is it?
There, as far as I know, there was no amendment that was presented to the committee or discussed.
So it just ought to pass.
Yes.
Okay, second. Okay, it's been moved and
Second.
seconded. Any further discussion by members of the committee? Seeing none, I would ask Ms. McGowan to approach. Thank you.
LD 1795 ought to pass. Senator Joseph Baldacci.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, yes. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
No.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, no. Senator Ned Claxton. Absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
No.
Representative William Toole, no. Representative Mark Bryant.
Yes.
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Representative Randall Greenwood.
No.
Representative Randall Greenwood, no. Representative Sean Paulus.
Yes.
Representative Sean Paulus, yes. Representative Francis Head.
I think you're on mute.
I think she's trying to get off.
Oh. Representative Head, I think you're on mute.
I can unmute her.
Well, you need to click unmute and then she'll see it and she'll click on it.
Okay. Okay, hold on 2 seconds. There you are. All right, hold on. Has to unmute. Okay.
Yeah.
Representative Walter Reisman,
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs,
No.
Representative Kathy Downs, no. Representative Lynn Copeland,
We may have to call a representative head on a cell phone to get both audio and video.
I believe Cheryl's going to try a Zoom trick.
A Zoom trick, okay.
Oh, yeah, she has it.
Cheryl, what, can we just call her on a cell phone or, and then we can get her audio and her video?
No cell phone, no landline?
Does she,
Can't do it that way?
she
Why
can,
not?
you know what she can do, she can just call.
oh,
She can call and, what's that?
Just ask her again. That's how she wants to go.
she's still on mute.
Yes.
No, it was.
Representative Head can call, the House office.
Okay.
And give the vote that way.
Okay,
All right.
Representative Head.
okay, I guess that's how we'll do it, because they have 36 hours or something, right?
They have 2 days.
2 days, okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's that?
Ought not to pass. I'm out of shape.
Right, so we'll have to see after the votes record, which is minority and which is majority. Okay, I think we have a number of we have some language reviews to go over.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead, Lynn.
So the first one will be LD 379, and Cheryl will be handing out a hard copy of this is a committee amendment. This was an ought to pass as amended, a unanimous vote by the committee. This is to establish the Maine State Cemetery Commission. And again, during language review, if the bill that is in front of you corresponds to what your vote was and what you were looking for amendments, then you don't have to do anything. But in this case, you also have a fiscal note. So this bill I started this bill through the process with the revisers and OFPR. And there was a fiscal note attached. So you'll recall that this, yes, Representative?
Thank you. I noticed that Representative Head is now unmuted. Representative Head, would you like to vote on the last bill?
Yes, I would, and thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm voting no.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Representative Head, no.
Okay, Lynn, go ahead. Representative Tool, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I know if we're going to discuss this bill further, and I know there's some talk about the language of the bill isn't quite what we were hoping for. I had moved to reconsider, having voted on the prevailing side, so that we can do that.
If I may, Representative Tool,
Sure.
I think that there may not be a need to reconsider because I believe that the change is technical in nature and not substantive. So perhaps if I can continue this, and then if you all believe that it's substantive, then a motion to reconsider at that time.
I'll withdraw it then and let you continue.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate.
Thank you, Representative Tool. So there is a fiscal note, and if the fiscal note, for those who don't have it in front of you, the Department of Defense Veterans and Emergency Management estimated that it would cost $205,000 for them to undertake the duties of the commission. And the duties of the commission include advise and educate, review statutes. If you look at the committee amendment on the second page, you'll see two versions of subsection 4. The first version is crossed out. It says staffing. This is fairly standard language. It says that the department shall, within the limits of existing resources, provide staff support. My understanding of the intention of the committee was that the department would be setting up meetings, would not be undertaking the activities and the duties of the commission. The fiscal note that they submitted was to support the department doing the activities of the commission. I believe if you all agree that that was the committee's intention, but the department not perform the duties of the commission members do that. The department merely sets up meetings, runs meetings, and that's the extent of their duties. Then I would suggest that the section 4 on the document would remove the fiscal note. And the section 4 would say the director's duties are notwithstanding subsection 3. So that says the duties are for the commission, not for the director. The director's duties are limited to arranging for and attending commission meetings and must be accomplished within existing resources. I think that phrase very clearly says to the department, you set up meetings and you attend meetings. You do not undertake the duties of the commission. If that was your intent when you voted this, what I can do is resend this to OFPR with this language, and the fiscal note will be amended, and the 205,000 will not be included.
Okay. So do we need a motion?
I think that unless someone objects,
Okay.
this is language review, so unless you think this is a substantive change,
Okay.
it's just a technical change, but I wanted to clarify before I went through this. So I think we're all good.
Okay. I just want to indicate, and I know Representative Matlack has also spoken to the Adjutant General. We both have spoken to Adjutant General Farnham, and he had expressed concerns, and I think that hopefully that these allay those concerns so that he is not overly taxed in terms of resources that he doesn't have. So I'm hopeful, and I appreciate the work of everybody in this committee. And basically this took a while, like the roads issue, but hopefully this arrangement that's been very narrowly tailored and crafted will work. Representative Tool?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would echo those sentiments, and I think this definitely meets with what we had talked about, that we just expect the department to do the basic calling of meetings and attending. So I think that's perfect. And I also want to thank Representative Greenwood for all of his work on this issue, because everyone's patience got tried along the way, but he really put in a lot of work and did a great job working with everybody to help make it come together.
Representative Greenwood, thank you.
Thank you as well.
And so I think that you have the consensus of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And what is the next?
The next is a majority report for LD 859.
Okay,
And this was a vote of 7 ought to pass as amended and 5 ought not to pass. This is an act to allow municipalities to use ranked choice voting in municipal elections. Again, a language review. If this reflects the committee, the majority reports vote, then I will send it along to be processed. So you'll recall that there was discussion in the work session about allowing municipalities to do things other than the ranked choice. And there were 2 provisions in the last version that you saw. One talked about tie votes get to do it differently. And that was at the bottom, and at the top, it was that the municipal elections would be done differently. This does that, it just does it in one sentence. And it says, unless otherwise provided for at a municipal meeting held at least 180 days before the annual meeting, the provisions of this section apply, which means it's a plurality of vote unless the municipality, whether it's for the election or for a tie vote, it's a plurality, and the tie vote provisions apply unless they hold a meeting 180 days beforehand and adopt a different method.
brilliant.
Thank you. I thought that
Kept
was a
it
good.
simple.
Yeah. So the last one for today is LD 1513, and that again is language review. This is the bill that came out of the subcommittee on abandoned and discontinued roads. It's LD, as I said, 1513. The title of the bill originally was an act to require maintenance. The amendment that the committee voted out includes changing the title. And this is an act to establish the Maine Abandoned and Discontinued Roads Commission. It is a commission of 12 members that includes Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, Agriculture, Transportation, the Attorney General, I'm going to use the names of the current associations, but the MMA, Maine Woodland Associates, real estate attorneys, land trust organization, all-terrain or snowmobile users, and a member of the public, and then a member of a statewide association that represents individuals who live on abandoned, discontinued roads. The bill sets up several priorities for this commission: the terms of office, the ability to establish subcommittees, and it provides that the Legislative Council is the entity that provides staff support. I know that the discussion was the Office of Policy and Legal Analysis. That entity does not exist in statute, so we are employees of the Legislative Council. So the way to indicate that in a bill is to say the Legislative Council will provide staff support. And I believe that, and then there's several other provisions that we've discussed, that were discussed at length. So that is the language review for that. And if it meets what you thought, then there's nothing further.
Representative Tool.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I know during the work session, there was some concern and some talking with Lynn afterwards about, are we setting a precedent by requiring this of OPLA to take this on? And come to find out, well, first, Lynn, if you could weigh in on that and relay to folks where that kind of went, and maybe it would be easier to reconsider, because I think we do need to, I don't want to see this bill go into study purgatory, so to speak.
Would you like me to answer the questions?
Yes.
Sure. So
Please.
thank you, Representative Tool. So you are correct. It is, I tried to determine whether there were any other examples where OPLA or a nonpartisan office staffed a commission that did not have legislative members on it. And I could not find any examples of it. OPLA and the other offices staff commissions with legislators on it. That's normal. And that would go to the study table. This will go to the study table because it's using legislative resources. But it also differs in that it's asking for staff resources for a commission that does not include legislators. So it is unusual as far as I could determine.
Okay. Any other questions?
So I would move reconsideration so we can go back into work session and try to iron this out.
I would second that.
Okay. So moving seconded. Can we do a show of hands or do you want a roll call? Show of hands. Everybody that wishes to reconsider. Okay.
Representative Reisman?
I'm voting against.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then those against?
All right, thank you.
Okay.
So you're now in a work session on this bill.
Okay. Representative Matlack.
Thank you. One of the considerations we had was to ask the Attorney General's office to be the agency that would oversee this commission. As complicated as and as reoccurring as these issues are, it will absolutely require legal analysis at some point. So I am recommending that we make the Attorney General's office the oversight agency for this commission.
Okay. Are you moving? Is that an amendment you're moving?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Representative Tool. Representative Tool, you want to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So also something that I had thought of in the last little bit is would it be possible for the commission to accept gifts, grants, that standard language so that the financials, so that they would have the option of the fiscal, if there is any fiscal cost for that to be donated through other means? Is that something that could be done? I'm just putting it out there for consideration.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Lynn?
So I have not worked on a bill that allows for gifts and grants, but I do know that it is not uncommon. So
Right.
I don't see any I don't see any problems with it at this time. And if I do discover one, I can come back, but that could be amended in.
Very good suggestion. So is there there's a motion to ought to pass as amended? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Lynn, there's been a couple suggestions for amendments. Can you tell me based on the handout where those would appear in the legislation?
Yes, thank you, Representative Reisman. So the one to add the Attorney General as the oversight agency, that would be subsection 9 on page 3 that says support staff. So instead of the Legislative Council, it would say the Office of the Attorney General shall provide staff support. And that will be, that's similar to what you have in other provisions or other statutes. And the gifts and grants would be new language into the bill that would allow this commission to accept funds from private entities to support their work.
Do you have any other questions? Any other questions? Any questions by members on video? Okay, I don't see any raised hands. Representative Matlack, I see your raised hand.
Yes, sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure it was understood that the amendment included Representative Toole's suggestion about the gifts.
Yep. So, there's been a motion and a second, is that correct? To pass as amended?
Yes.
Okay, so if we could have Cheryl call the roll.
Yes. LD 1513 ought to pass as amended. Senator Joseph Baldacci.
Yes.
Senator Joseph Baldacci, yes. Senator Kimberly Rosen.
Yes.
Senator Kimberly Rosen, yes. Senator Ned Claxton, absent. Representative Ann Matlack.
Yes.
Representative Ann Matlack, yes. Representative William Toole.
Yes.
Representative William Tool, yes. Representative Mark Bryant,
Yes.
Representative Mark Bryant, yes. Representative Randall Greenwood,
Yes.
Representative Randall Greenwood, yes. Representative Sean Paulus,
Yes.
Representative Sean Paulus, yes. Representative Francis Head,
Yes.
Representative Francis Head, yes. Representative Walter Reisman,
Yes.
Representative Walter Reisman, yes. Representative Kathy Downs,
Yes.
Representative Kathy Downs, yes. Representative Lynn Copeland, absent. 10 yes, 2 absent.
Okay, thank you. Lynn, any other items on your agenda?
No other items on my agenda. Would you like me to just briefly go over the calendar? for
Yes,
next
that
week?
would be great.
Thank you.
When you
So-
get a
Oh,
moment.
I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Chairman.
Representative Reisman.
We considered LD 859 language, and I would like to work towards recalling that so that I may change my vote on that.
Okay. So somebody in the major, that voted as the majority would have to vote to reconsider?
I think I was in the majority.
Oh, you were?
Yes, he
Okay.
was, yes.
Okay, so you want to make a motion to reconsider?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Anybody, all those for reconsidering? Okay. Being reconsidered.
Can we have a vote for any against?
Any against?
Thank you.
Thank you. Walter, Reisman, Representative Reisman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm asking for reconsideration of this. Back on February 7th, I think we had a meeting about the particular statute, and I brought up the issue of referendum votes. And I submitted a question back then, which is almost a month ago, concerning including municipal referendum in the statute. And at this point, it was kind of ignored up to the last review we had. And based on that, I feel pretty strong about how municipal referendums should be treated. And so I would like to change, if it's possible, my vote from was ought to pass in the majority to ought to pass with that stipulation about municipal referendum.
Okay, let me just ask a question, Representative Reisman. Now, referendum are typically yes, no questions. So
Typically, yeah.
okay,
Yes, sir.
I just don't know when it would apply. And that's all I'm saying is that it may not apply. They'd have to have like 3 questions in one or something.
If I may, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair, I had the same thought, and I have been informed by attorneys that there have been municipal referendum that have ABC options.
Oh, okay.
So that there is potential for not a majority.
Okay. Discussion by members of the committee, Representative Bryant.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now, so that would mean there'd be 3 reports. Is that correct?
That is correct. If there was, there would be an ought to pass as amended for the committee, majority report, and ought to pass as amended. That is being proposed by Representative Reisman, and then an ought not to pass would be the third. And we'd have to revote because it was a 5. Cheryl would have to give the final vote totals from the last vote. So I guess to be clear, I would suggest that it be a vote on the ought to pass as amended, the ought not to pass, just to confirm that nobody else is changing their vote.
What was the
except for
previous vote?
Representative Reisman.
The previous vote was ought to pass as amended 7 and ought not to pass 5.
So is there discussion, first of all, by members of the committee regarding the issue of including referenda in the statute, in the proposed bill? Is there any discussion? Representative Matlack?
I'm wondering, is it, how complicated it would be to include that? I mean, do we have, Lynn, do you have an idea of where we might add that or how we might add that?
I have not looked into what portions of Title 30A or Title 21 discuss the
Mhm.
referendum vote in the municipality, so I can't answer that quite yet.
Would we like to hold off until Monday and allow Lynn to do some research on how this could be included? Because it might be something that those of us on the ought to pass as amended side might be interested in pursuing if we knew how it would work within the legislation.
That's very good. Excellent idea.
I move to table this bill until later in the day.
Okay, is there a second? All those in favor, all those in favor of tabling? Any opposed?
3.
Representative Reisman?
Just for the record, Representative Copeland has joined us.
Oh, great.
Just acknowledge her.
Representative Copeland, good morning. Thank you for joining us. You want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, my name is Lynn Copeland, and I'm proud to represent the folks in House District 14, which is currently coastal and downtown Saco.
Great. If, with the indulgence of the committee, maybe Representative Copeland can be allowed to vote on the items that we voted on. Is that okay, Representative Copeland?
Yes, tell me which one you're voting on now.
Well, we can go back to our votes and let you know.
This is a tabling.
This is a tabling motion, so we've tabled this item to Monday. But we can go back to the bills that were scheduled for work session that we voted on.
Right.
Okay.
This is the municipal ranked choice voting bill, and we're going to we're suggesting tabling it till Monday so that we can discuss adding referendum questions to it.
Yes.
Very good. I agree with that. So I vote for tabling.
Thank you, Representative Copeland. Ms. McGowan, there were a couple of, oh, I'm sorry, Representative Bryant.
I wondered what our analyst had, just it might be something we need before.
No, I think, but thank you, Representative Bryant. I think I'm set. I can come up with a version of a bill that includes what Representative Reisman is considering, and we can schedule a work session for Monday to bring that back. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. Okay, Representative Copeland, I'm going to ask Ms. McGowan to go over the votes so you can record your votes now. Ms. McGowan?
Yes, the first one is LD 1610 ought to pass as amended. Currently, it's 6 ought to pass as amended and 4 ought not to pass with 2 absent. Representative Lynn Copeland.
Can you tell me what the votes were, please?
Yes, Senator Baldacci, Senator Rosen, Representative Matlack, Representative Bryant, Representative Paulus, and Representative Reisman voted ought to pass as amended.
Okay, and that's on the
That's
data
on
governance.
1610, an act to promote equity in policymaking by enhancing the state's ability to collect, analyze, and apply data.
I vote in favor.
Representative Lynn Copeland, yes. The next one, Representative Copeland, is LD 1795, an act to update statutory references to building code standards for public improvements. That was ought to pass. And Senator Baldacci, Representative Matlack, Representative Bryant, Representative Paulus, and Representative Reisman voted ought to pass.
I also would vote ought to pass on that one.
Thank you very much. Representative Lynn Copeland ought to pass. So that makes that one 6-5-1. And finally, we reconsidered 1513 and re-voted on that one.
Let me look that one up one moment.
Do you want to read the title?
I will. Okay, 1513, an act to require the maintenance of a discontinued public road to provide the sole access to one or residents.
One or more residents.
One or more residents.
Right, I see it here. So
Yeah.
what was the vote? Is it?
The vote on that was unanimous, ought to pass as amended.
Okay, so then I'm assuming that since it's unanimous, it's all the things that we talked about, and I vote in favor.
Representative Lynn Copeland on 1513, yes.
Okay. Were there any other votes, Cheryl?
That's it.
Okay,
I
Representative Tool,
believe
you
we
have your
only
hand
did
up.
3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And for Representative Copeland's benefit, what we did with that is we, instead of sending it to the Legislative Council, we sent it to the Attorney General, and we are going to allow the commission to accept grants, gifts, etc. So that's what we did with 1513.
Thank you so much. That's such an important bill, and I think that we handled it very nicely. So
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative Tool. Thank you, Representative Copeland. Any other questions or comments by any member of the committee? Okay, I think Lynn is going to go over the future, the near term future.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So you may all have received the presiding officer's instructions that committee work needs to be completed by next Friday, except for things that are referred and except for the budget. So to accomplish that, you have a joint public hearing with AFA on the budget next Monday at 10 a.m. That will be remote, and you will receive the invite not from Cheryl, but from the AFA clerk. And then at 1 p.m., there are 2 public hearings for this committee, LD 408, which is updating the GEA, and LD 2005, which is the Knox County Budget Committee districts. And then there are several work sessions, 1806, which is the Waldo Knox boundaries, 1975, which is Wyndham Roads, 2002, which is inactive boards and commissions, and then 408 and 2005, if they are not, well, and those 2, because you have session on Wednesday. So there will not be a committee meeting on Wednesday. And I will also add a language review I will also add 879 for a work session on Monday as well. So Monday afternoon is a bit packed.
So we start at 10 with AFA.
Yes.
And
And
then
then,
come back at 1.
yes.
Okay. Representative Tool?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm just throwing this out there, but is there a chance we could potentially do some of our work sessions that we know we're going to have at like 9 and maybe try to knock a couple of them out before we go to AFA?
I would prefer leaving it the way it is.
Okay.
Just because I think we could get into a discussion that we have to end, and it could be fragmented. I'd rather go straight through it. Okay. Okay. Anything else?
No, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Is there a motion to adjourn?
2 seconds.
Yes, Representative.
Yes, I don't know whether folks on camera can see it or not, but we do have a lovely spray of tulips in the place that would have been held by Representative Dorr. And here is, we also have a lovely card from her family for the flowers that we sent on behalf of the State and Local Government Committee. So
Representative Matlack, thank you very much.
you're most welcome. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you. That is a loss for all of us, as we've all recognized. Well, on that note, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned. I'll just do that for.